Welcome to my YouTube channel, Auto Mark. Today, we're exploring one of the most secretive and ambitious projects in modern military aviation, the United States Next Generation Air Dominance Program, commonly known as NGAD. This sixth-generation fighter program represents the future of air combat, and as we progress through 2026, new details continue to emerge about this revolutionary aircraft that promises to redefine what air superiority means in the coming decades. The NGAD program is not just about building a single aircraft. It represents a complete paradigm shift in how the United States Air Force approaches air dominance. Unlike previous fighter programs that produced one specific airframe to serve for decades, NGAD is built around the concept of digital engineering and rapid technology insertion. This means the Air Force plans to continuously update and even replace the fighter design every few years as technology evolves, rather than flying the same basic airframe for 40 or 50 years like the F-15 or F-16. What makes NGAD a sixth-generation fighter? Several characteristics define this new generation of combat aircraft. First is the integration with unmanned systems. The NGAD fighter will serve as a quarterback in the sky, controlling multiple autonomous drones called Collaborative Combat Aircraft, or CCAs. These loyal wingman drones will fly alongside the manned fighter, performing various missions from reconnaissance to electronic warfare to even direct combat, all controlled by the pilot in the NGAD aircraft. Stealth technology in NGAD goes far beyond what we see in fifth-generation fighters like the F-22 and F-35. The aircraft is expected to feature advanced materials and shaping that provide stealth across multiple spectrums, not just radar. This includes reduced infrared signatures, acoustic signatures, and even visual signatures. The goal is to create an aircraft that is virtually undetectable until it wants to be detected, operating deep inside enemy airspace with impunity. The propulsion system represents another leap forward. NGAD is expected to feature adaptive cycle engines that can switch between high thrust for supersonic combat and high efficiency for extended range. These next-generation engines will likely enable the fighter to supercruise at higher speeds than current fighters, meaning sustained supersonic flight without afterburners. Range is a critical requirement, especially for Pacific theater operations, where distances between bases and potential conflict zones are enormous. Weapon systems on NGAD will include directed energy weapons, specifically high-powered lasers capable of engaging missiles, drones, and potentially even other aircraft. Traditional missiles will still be carried, but these will be next-generation weapons with significantly longer range and advanced guidance systems. The aircraft's sensor suite will be unprecedented, fusing data from onboard systems, other aircraft, satellites, and ground stations to create a complete battlefield picture that gives pilots information dominance. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the price. This is where NGAD becomes truly staggering. Initial estimates suggested each NGAD fighter could cost between $200 and $300 million per unit. To put that in perspective, an F-35A costs approximately $80 million, and an F-22 Raptor cost about $150 million in its production run. The NGAD could literally be twice as expensive as the most costly fighter ever produced. However, in 2024 and continuing into 2026, the Air Force began seriously reconsidering the program's direction due to these astronomical costs. Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall publicly stated that the service needed to reassess whether it could afford the NGAD as originally conceived. With budget constraints and competing priorities, including modernizing the nuclear triad and developing the B-21 Raider bomber, spending potentially $300 million per fighter became a serious concern. The cost discussion led to what officials call a program pause, not a cancellation, but a fundamental review of requirements and capabilities. The Air Force is exploring whether some capabilities can be moved to the unmanned collaborative combat aircraft, which would cost a fraction of the manned fighter. If drones costing $20 to $30 million each can perform many of the same missions, does it make sense to build such an expensive manned platform? part of the cost challenge comes from the advanced manufacturing techniques and materials required. NGAD will use digital engineering throughout its life cycle, meaning the aircraft exists as a complete digital twin before physical production begins. This allows for rapid prototyping and testing in virtual environments, but the initial investment in these digital tools and processes is substantial. The Air Force has already built and flown at least one full-scale demonstrator aircraft, possibly more, testing technologies that will feed into the production design. The timeline for NGAD has also been affected by these cost concerns. Originally, the Air Force hoped to begin fielding operational NGAD fighters in the late 2020s, potentially around 2028 or 2029. However, the reassessment has likely pushed this timeline to the right. As of 2026, the Air Force is still working through what the final requirements will be and how many aircraft it can realistically afford to procure. One interesting aspect of the cost equation is the Collaborative Combat Aircraft program. The Air Force plans to acquire potentially thousands of these autonomous drones over the coming decades. Individual CCAs might cost $20 to $30 million depending on their capabilities, but when you buy them in large quantities alongside expensive manned fighters, the total program cost becomes enormous. The Air Force must balance how many manned NGAD fighters it needs versus how many unmanned CCAs can fill capability gaps at lower cost. The geopolitical context cannot be ignored. China is developing its own sixth-generation fighter capabilities, and the threat environment in the Pacific requires long-range, survivable aircraft that can operate in contested airspace. The distances involved in potential Pacific conflicts make range and endurance critical. NGAD is specifically designed with these scenarios in mind, featuring range capabilities far exceeding current fighters. From a technological standpoint, NGAD represents technologies that sound like science fiction. Beyond the directed energy weapons and advanced stealth, the aircraft will feature artificial intelligence assistance for the pilot, advanced electronic warfare systems that can adapt in real time to threats, and networking capabilities that make it a node in a much larger battle network rather than just a standalone fighter. The manufacturing approach is equally revolutionary. Rather than building one design and flying it for decades, the digital engineering approach allows the Air Force to potentially field updated designs every few years, incorporating the latest technologies without going through traditional lengthy acquisition programs. This modular, adaptable approach could provide sustained technological advantage over adversaries. As we move through 2026, the NGAD program stands at a crossroads. The Air Force must decide whether to proceed with the originally envisioned highly capable but extremely expensive fighter or whether to scale back requirements and costs. Thank you for watching AutoMark and subscribe for more updates on cutting-edge military technology.